Hello friends, hey, how's it going? So it is the first day after the patch notes and we are ready to start testing our theories based on the actual numbers that we know. As you can see, Zeus is as excited as I am for doing this. In fact, I was not able to even sleep at a reasonable hour last night, and I immediately made a new character and I just had to start testing things out. So, well, if you saw the thumbnail or the title when you clicked on this video, you know what this is gonna be. I have been warming up to Spectral Helix recently. I originally tested it in Endless Heist, doing the Fragment of Eternity, Nightblade, Ice Bite, Frenzy Charge stacking thing. It was very, very strong, but the mechanics of it, especially in Heist, and I was in Hardcore, I was like really scared of jumping in a pack of monsters, didn't really click with me. However, after trying it out in Anomaly for a couple days last week, I really warmed up to it. There are some funky things about Spectral Helix and some weirdness, and you have to really get used to the way that it rotates and everything. And unfortunately, it's a little pay to win. The MTX really makes it feel 10 times better. It's just one of those skills. I really hope they buff up the base look of the skill, at least give it like a weapon effect or something so it has a little bit of a trail. By default, you can almost not even see it, but with the MTX, you get a nice celestial trail. Looks good, feels good, and if you know how to use it and go counterclockwise and ensure that you're gonna hit as much as possible with it, it hits like a truck. It has one of the highest damage effectiveness scalars in the entire game, especially for a projectile skill. It works with almost every weapon in the game. We can use it with Nightblade support, Ice Bite support. We can stack our frenzy charges and really get a lot of value out of it. So I stayed up a little later than I should have last night. I played a couple acts with it on a Ranger. My plan is to go Raider, and I just wanted to show you all where I am right now before I take this even further and get it to maps and really put it through its paces over the next couple days on stream. So let's get right into it. So this is just the first build that I'm testing. I will be testing a couple builds over the next week, but I do need to pick the one that I'm going to play ASAP. Now, with all that said, I will be creating starter POBs and videos for both Bane and the Cold Dot Occultist that I'm planning on fleshing out and getting out there for potential league starters. But I want to play something a little different myself, and especially with Raider being my favorite ascendancy in the game and how strong Spectral Helix is looking, especially after the patch notes, I really want to delve into this and see what I can do with it. So if this works out after I test it in maps, then this is a very strong contender for what I'm going to league start. Full solo self-found gear. I haven't opened up my stash or anything. This is literally what I picked up off the ground. I'm a level 25 Ranger, and this is what I got. So the biggest two-handed weapon that I could find, I found a white double axe on the ground, hit it with 4 whetstones, hit it with a single alchemy. I did get pretty lucky on this craft, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. But this is not totally out of band for something that you're going to find in Act 3. And then what I have is Spectral Helix with added cold damage and added fire damage support. Because Spectral Helix has one of the highest effectiveness of added damage multipliers in the game, we get a ton of benefit by using the added damage supports. Now, they are getting nerfed next patch, but just a little bit of a slap on the wrist. So I'm not worried about that. And then besides that, I have Herald of Ash, Clarity, Dash, Blood Rage, Leap Slam, Vitality, and then this is just drop this on the ground, and Steel Skin. And that's it. And the gear is just nothing. It's just stuff that I found on the ground as I'm leveling. And I just want to show you all how strong this skill is. It absolutely slaps. It destroys absolutely everything in the game. I have played this more endgame, so I do know that it scales. This skill was pretty popular last league, so I'm not really saying anything that is particularly crazy that people don't already know. But I didn't play it that much, and I'm just trying to come up with my own flavor of it. My intention right now is to go into cold conversion. Cold is my favorite element. Hatred is incredibly strong by double dipping, giving you extra fizz as cold and increasing your cold damage with a multiplier. So it's incredibly, incredibly strong. Let's see if we can live through this free strong box. How's that axe? Ooh, that's pretty good for a one-handed axe. And then later on, if we find a really big one-handed weapon, we can actually transition into a shield with that one-handed weapon, especially a dagger. We can use Nightblade support and really scale through all that type of stuff once we start getting into crit. And not to mention that we have Precise Technique on the table next league, which we can use before we are able to scale our critical strike chance and really push that up a little bit later. This is just a gigantic more damage multiplier that will make leveling and possibly early maps. I think Precise Technique is going to be used by basically every attack skill early on until they start scaling into crit a little bit later. It's a really nice elemental overload type keystone that you could argue is even better than EO. So I'm really, really excited to use this. It's going to make scaling early attack skills really, really good. All right, if we keep running through the zone, you can see how hard I chunk these rares here. Remember, this is just random gear that I found off the ground in solo self-found. We could potentially have stuff that's even better, especially if you're in trade. The key to using Spectral Helix is you want to go counterclockwise and always being attacking, at the monster. You might be in the habit of going clockwise. This is an attack where you got to break that habit a little bit and get used to going counterclockwise. This will make it way more likely that you're going to get overlaps on the monster. And that's really how you're going to maximize your damage when you're fighting single target. Really, when you're clearing maps, you can just kind of walk pretty close to the monsters. I like to attack once ahead of me and then once behind me, and then just keep going forward. And it basically clears the entire screen really, really well. All right, and the very last thing for the build, as you can see, I'm level 28, so this is really, really exciting, really complicated decisions. Just kidding. What we did here. I ended up going through the defense, attack damage, and accuracy nodes down here. If you want to min-max your damage, you can go through the damage nodes up here. I just grabbed all of the closest stuff that was just comfortable and nice to get, Primal Spirit, Heart of Oak, grabbed one with Nature. We get some increased elemental damage and some elemental resistances. And in fact, I made a beeline straight for Gladiator's Perseverance. This gives us attack speed and leech, just makes sustaining everything really, really nice. Then I went down to Fury Bolts because we are using a projectile. And so Fury Bolts is actually really nice for us. Grabbed the Bravery while we were down there. And now I went up to Charisma, which lets me comfortably reserve Hatred, Herald of Ice, and Clarity. There's really not that much here for what I've done so far. I'm not 100% sure which direction that I'm going to take. Next league, when we have that precise technique, I'm definitely going to be going straight for that. The 40% more damage multiplier, it's hard to beat. And then really depends on the weapon that you're using initially and what you're doing. After that, I would recommend probably going up here towards Assassination, Blood Siphon, Blood Drinker, and then depending on whether you want to go Dagger or Claw to go with the Nightblade, take advantage of all that. This will be a little bit later, but since we're going to be using precise technique, not worrying about critical strikes whatsoever early on, these are really later for building the build into the end game. And this is all my initial reaction, my initial thoughts. The build is feeling crazy, crazy strong and just awesome right now in Act 3. And I'm excited to see where it can go and where I take it on stream in just a couple hours. All right, so that's just my quick little daily update on what I'm going to be doing today. I am really, really excited for making this build. I have a strong feeling that this is what I'm going to go to. Only 90% right now, not quite 100%. But if it shakes out to feel just as good in red maps, this is, I just got to play my Raider, It's been a while. She is my favorite Ascendancy in the game. I am so happy that they haven't nerfed her. She is so, so strong. And especially with those new Forbidden Flesh and Flame Jewels, oh my God, it's going to be crazy. I think there's some incredible potential for the Raider, especially because of those. Hopefully you have some interest in Spectral Helix as well if you didn't try it out in 3.16 or if it became a favorite of yours in 3.16. What do you think? Do you have any other suggestions for something that I would try that might have this flavor that I might be interested? Definitely let me know in the comments below. But time for me to get ready for the stream, so I'll catch y'all later. See you tomorrow. Bye.